Hey, toy pups. Are you here, like, not here? Like you came in and said, sent some love, and then went back to bed? Or are you here? Does that make sense? I am here. Finally. Late, but here. And today, by the way, we're in review. Man, for those who have stuck with the lessons, again, thank you for one. Uh, if you have been doing the lessons, how are you doing? How are you feeling? What do you have questions? Let's talk about it. Sorry. Oops. Today we are on lesson 112, which is a review of lesson 93 and lesson 94. Remember, we do a morning and evening review, and if possible, hourly and half hourly. We just call to mind these lessons. On the hour, we bring up the review of lesson 93, and then the half hour. Hey, Miss Flipper. On the half hour, we bring up the review of lesson 94. For morning and evening review, in the morning we spend 5 minutes with a review of lesson 93. In the evening we spend 5 minutes. It's a soft meditation, letting the words sink in. There's no concentration. I wrote about that this morning. It's much like mantra meditation. But we're not concentrating, focusing on that mantra. We're not squinting our eyes and not letting our thoughts wander. It's the wandering thoughts that we recall that bring us home. Hey, Todd. Todd, you have a good day too. Hi, Anna. Hi, Mlada. I was just over on your page. Good morning to you. It's nice to see you. Hey, toy pups. I'm good, Anna. So, lesson 112. We spent 5 minutes again in the morning reviewing lesson 93. Light and joy and peace abide in me. I am the home of light and joy and peace. I welcome them into the home I share with God because I am part of Him. Now, here's the thing. So Toy Pop says, we appreciate your consistency. Well, thanks. It's my one super talent, my one superpower. Showing up every day. Himlada says, good morning, all friends. I am Indian woman with a fantastic channel, by the way. Go visit Himlada. So, light and joy and peace abide in me, a review of lesson 93. Here's the thing. Everyone wants to experience light, true light, divine light, right? We want to see ourselves as we really are. We want that light of heaven to shine down upon us, to reveal the holiest of essence. We don't so much want to see it in other people. It's a little more difficult. Excuse me, guys. Hey, Lady Sky. 18 days till Mother's Day. We all want to experience joy, true joy. This is a joy that is unconditional, doesn't depend on things. Just the joy of waking up and being alive, the joy of seeing a loved one and realizing everyone's a loved one. We want the joy of just pure beingness, presence, knowing ourselves who we truly are. And we all want peace, again, unconditional peace, not a peace that is dependent upon anything. So we look for it, and we look for it, and we look for it. Sometimes we think we find it only to have something happen, or only to have something removed, or only, right? There's always an only. I thought I had peace, and then someone came in and triggered me. I thought I had peace, and someone pissed me off. I thought I had peace, and this happened. Did I see Long John? There he is. Hey, Long John. So that's not really peace. If it can be stirred, if it's temporary, it's not really peace. So all the searching that we do, the whole essence of a spiritual path, of self-improvement, of whatever, And here the Course says light and joy and peace, all the things that we're looking for, all the things that we long for, abide in me. That we are the home of light, we are the home of joy, we are the home of peace. I welcome them into the home that I share with God because I am part of Him. Everything we're searching for, every darn thing, pardon my language, we're searching for. Abide in me, even God, because I am part of Him. That was a review of lesson 93. Hey, Hammer. Hammer says, who's pissing me off? No one's pissing me off. But, sooner or later, someone pisses us all off, right? Someone seemingly activates the trigger. Review of lesson 94. I am as God created me. I will remain forever as I was, created by the changeless like Himself, and I am one with Him and He with me. I am as God created me. Right now. You don't have to find it. You don't have to create it. You can't disappoint your father, mother. I like using those synonymously here. I am as God created me. That is the most repeated line in A Course in Miracles. I am as God created me, often framed with, I am not a body, I am free, I am still as God created me. We're using this metaphorically, so for those orientated towards biblical debating, it's just a metaphor. On the sixth day, when God looked around and surveyed all He created, He said it was good. All of it. Every last bit of it. He didn't say it's all good, but man, I think I made a mistake with that Eric guy. He didn't give him enough hair. I didn't give him the ability to articulate everything as well as he would probably like. I didn't give him whatever. Everything that I've ever felt that I was lacking, right? God looked around and said everything He created. And guess what? We are ideas in the mind of God, created by and as of God. And then everything that we extend is, by proxy, an extension of God. Hey, Mass, how are you, my friend? Hey, Rosie. Hi, Paul. Hold on. I'm going to dive in. Everything God created was good, including you. Those are the reviews. I want to look something up, if I can find it. I want to look something up. There we go. Lady Sky said, God loves us, and I thank Him for everything He has created for me. Awesome, Lady Sky. Paul, how are you? Rosie, how are you? Maximilian Big Jim says, hello, my friend. Appreciate you being here. Hey, Todd, thank you so much for the jewels. Much, much appreciated. Rosie said, Kat had a coupon and it expired. That made me laugh. She held it up. Toy Pups, she sent me some sparkles. Sparkles from Toy Pups are always extra special. Hey, Marlon. I'm sending you right back to Kat. All of y'all, get out of here. Back to Kat's. She can't pull that coupon trick on me. That's my trick, right? I'm the one with the expired coupon. You tell Kat that. Head on over there. Rosie's all right. Thank you, Toy Pups. Knock on her door, Marlon. Get over there and knock on the door. Tell her to open it back up. Rosie says she said she had a coupon and it expired and ended the live stream. Man, now I got a bone to pick with Kat. She stole my coupon and used it. It wasn't an expired coupon, it was a fresh coupon. She's on her way to Olive Garden right now with my coupon. Cat is off the air now? Nope, knock on her door. Get over there, knock on her door until she opens it back up again. Keep knocking until she opens the door. She's there. She's looking out the window at you right now. It's like those people at Halloween when you were a kid. You knew they were home. You knew they were sitting on a big ass bag of candy and they weren't going to open the door and give it to you, but you kept knocking anyway. Get over there and knock on the door. Cat, you stole the coupon. You get back here, Cat. Exactly, Rosie. We're not letting her off the hook. Let's see. Let's Mr. Edelin, did I get that right? I'm scrolling through YouTube Shorts and stumbled upon your live. I've seen this before, but I'm curious. What's the actual payoff? There is zero payoff. You will get nothing out of this conversation, possibly a migraine. Might get a little nauseated. Other than that, that's it. That's what I offer. I offer headaches and nausea. You don't even have to super chat to get that. I give it away absolutely for free. Hey, Praveen. Kat says, we got gems. This is fun. Wait a minute. Am I getting Canadian money gems? Hey, Stinkbug. Simco says, Miss Yogi, Miss Pups. Rosie says, that made my day. When I go to school until I have a coupon and it expired. The best thing, if you want to get out of class, you hold up the imaginary coupon and you say, oh my God, my coupons are about to expire. Cat, you got to get back over there. You can't send these people in my direction. Latest guy says, yum, Olive Garden, Yogi. I don't know if I guess I've been in an Olive Garden before. What's the sense? I'm not going anywhere. Someone's home uninvited at night. I don't want to, I want no more holes poked to me. I would never poke a hole in Wassa. Sigmund says, we give headaches for free around these parts? Absolutely. Paul says, no coupons were harmed in the making of this live stream. That was funny, Paul. Thank you, Toy Pups. The key is you got to run out of the room without any explanation, Rosie. Boy, we're going to get Rosie in trouble in school. Sickbook says, Miss Cat, Miss Sky. Toy Pup says, it's early. Sorry about the happy poop. It's never too early for a happy poop. It's been my experience in life. Cat says, the conversation was getting deep. I had to use the coupon. No excuses. No excuses. I saw your conversation. All right. There was something I wanted to bring up. If I can find it. This is Robert Perry's book, Pathway to Life. This is a really handy guidebook for Course in Miracles. I'm going to put something out here that it's going to be hard to stomach. Lesson 161. I don't want to jump too far ahead. We're jumping 50, exactly, what, 49 lessons ahead? How deep you think the bathtub was? Endless. I saw that, Praveen. I saw what you mentioned. I'm sorry about that. Spaghetti I saw was from Olive Garden. Rosie says, Cat is a thief of coupons. Who would have known? I would have known. I would have known. You know what? I had the coupons in my hand, and all of a sudden I heard someone go yoink, poof, they were gone. It was Kat. I heard her laughing in the background. Kat stole my coupons. Hey, Alice. You know much about the universal Christ concept? I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know. I don't know if there's anything to really know about universal Christ. It's there. It's universal. Uh, it's not even conceptual. It's experiential. Experiential. If it's conceptual, you're never going to experience it. If you experience it, it's beyond a concept. Longjo says, Cat is a thief of breadsticks. I think she probably would be. Miss Pippa says, I think you should actually jump ahead or behind when you jump ahead or behind. That makes sense. Hey, Luke. Hello, Mr. Eric. Are you that Yogi? I am not. I am not that Yogi. Don't confuse me with that Yogi. I'm the other Yogi. Sorry about that, stick bug. First to your grandmother. Sigbook says that's kind of how he uses the concept of vice, just different use of vernacular. Vernacular. Rosie says that made my day for the expired coupon. Even though it was a stolen coupon, it was a stolen imaginary coupon, Rosie. Just wait until Kat is on her next live stream. You're going to see me sneak in there right behind her and go yoink. I'm going to grab those coupons right on back. Falcon says, simple advice for my side to everyone who wants to become a YouTuber. First thing, stop depending on completely on AI. If you use AI, no issues at all, but it should only support creativity, not replace it. Excellent advice. Rosie says, I need those coupons though. Sharing is caring. Bavine says, nice t-shirt. Yogi, sir, as usual, this is Umstead. Umstead's in North Carolina. 100 miler. I did not make the 100 miler. I got, I think, mile 81. And the race director called me aside. My ex-wife, who was with me, she was going to do 50 miles. This race had the option. You got credit for 50 miles if you made 50 miles. You got credit for the race. Or the 50-mile division. And then she was going to, because she was training for another race, so she wanted to get 50 miles in. And then she was going to go to a hotel room, get some sleep, come over and pick me up after I finished the 100 miler, and then drive home. But she was pretty exhausted on her way driving to the hotel room. She actually partially drove the car into a very, very, very large ditch. Since we're sort of in the mountains, foothills, it was more of a mountain, small mountain than a ditch. They had to call, it was blocking the road, so they had to call tow truck, and she was exhausted and shaken up. She didn't know what to do, so she said, I want to talk to my whatever I was, her ex-husband. And they called me. By the time we got that settled, I was really behind. I didn't think I could do the remaining miles and finish under the time limit. So I bagged it, called it a day. 81 miles. The following weekend, though, was CNO 100. So I decided, you know what? I feel pretty fresh. So I went that weekend and I did CNO 100 miles for a big finish. was really happy about that. 81 miles one weekend, the next weekend doing a 100-miler. Oh, awesome. Luke says, just received my copy of Bag of Ants. I was intrigued last time. Hey, what are you going to read first? Disappearance of the Universe or Bag of Ants? You're going to love it, Luke. Sickbook says, hope she didn't get hurt too bad. No, she was just mentally shook up. And then she felt really bad that I dropped from the race because I didn't have time. I was like, it's no big deal. Just a race. 81 miles is nothing to shrug at. You know what I mean? And like I said, I was even more. I could have finished the 100 and gotten the buckle. But the fact that I could do 81 miles and then the very next weekend do a 100-miler made me more happy. Hey, Joseph, welcome back. All right, where was it that I wanted to read? Good morning to you, my friend. Sigmund says you could probably still do it at your age now. I'd have to start training for ultra running again, which takes a lot of time, a lot of energy. I'd like right now I'm training mostly for the kettlebells. I could probably in a month I could probably do a 50K, maybe a 50 miler. We'll see. I'd like to think that if inspiration hits, that I still have some more 100-mile races in me. I just don't know if I'm going to be geared in that direction again. I burned off a whole lot of muscle ultra running that I worked hard to get to begin with. Just because, one, it's not cost efficient to carry too much weight with you, and because you burn off a ton of calories, because plant-based diet is inherently lower in calories. Just plants have less calories, so I'd have to eat enormously, which I did, but that also led to some because I was also fasting every day, it ended up causing some acid reflux because I was trying to get in as much calories as I could in a short eating window. Hey, Mindcrawler. Greetings to you. Hey, based organizers, but what makes you think they're not organized? They're not organized in a way that would make sense to you, but do they have to make sense to you? Things don't even have to make sense to me, so I don't know why they'd have to make sense to you. Brian says, just agree with that one. What did we disagree with? Sigmund says, my muscles eat themselves, and you know a lot, but my heart couldn't handle it. So in my opinion, it's always better to be lean. I've been heavy. I've been 220 pounds for powerlifting. I don't like the effort it takes to eat that much. I didn't like how I felt. Hey, Beachy. Beachy, long time no see. How are you? Degenerative muscle disease, yeah. Hey, Brian. Luke says, I started the disappearance on one hand. I like the idea of being a dialogue conversation, but I'm using it as an easy entry into A Course in Miracles and see the whole supernatural aspect with healthy skepticism. Yeah, and he doesn't ask you to believe it. You can take it as just a storytelling device. Some people did that with Carlos Castaneda, and all kinds of other books along those lines. So you don't have to believe any of it. Just take it as a literary device. Brian says, that's why I won't do it, Eric. I don't like feeling way down. Me either. Me either, Brian. Base Newark says, 5 doubloons. You haven't touched the white book next to the black one and yellow one. I don't know what a doubloon is. Not sure I want a doubloon. What would I do with a doubloon? Would I add it to my doubloon collection? Could I trade it? Could I go to Bed Bath and Doubloons Beyond and trade it in for something new and shiny? Probably not. Marlon says basically all bodybuilders get the majority of their calories from plant sources. Almost everyone. Not to my view. Not what I did. Not what anyone I knew back then did. Hey, Kamari, how are you, my friend? Kamari, it's nice to see you. What is new? Peachy says, did Allie Bird talk to you? Like recently? No. What's going on with Allie Bird? Everything okay? Brian, did you meditate this morning? Well, it says not many people get fat on a strict carnivore diet. Through a mixed diet is easier to overeat than any extreme. I ate mostly meat, Marlon, when I was 220. Sinkbook says it's like a pirate coin. Gotcha. Well, I do like the Pirates. Second favorite baseball team. Sinkbook says plant sources, that's not even close to being true. And it says good morning to Kamari. Definitely good morning to Kamari. Rosie says, Rakako probably back to bed after she's probably at Olive Garden right now with my stolen coupons, eating all the breadsticks, as Long John said. What kind of diet would I recommend for GERD problems? So I generally recommend Ayurvedic principles. Ayurvedic is a sister science of yoga. I'd have to look up the Ayurvedic solution to GERD, and we can do that. We can do that right now. Brian says, yes, I sure did. Eric meditated in silence for about 20 minutes and also meditated with turning forks for about 20 minutes. Nice, Brian. So let's dive in that. Emma says, solo tonight. Hey, are you on the road today, Hammer? You're welcome, Kamari. And we're going to do that right now. Ayurvedic. So Ayurvedic dietary disciplines are based upon doshas. Doshas mean body type. No one is ever any one out of the three. We're a mixture of each. One is usually more predominant than the other. And it is based on balancing pita, not the bread. Pita is one of the three of the body types. So pita is the heat, acidity. Focus on balancing excess pita dosha, heat, acidity, by consuming coolly alkaline and easily digested foods. Key strategies include eating mild cooked meals, avoiding spicy, sour foods, and incorporating remedies like ghee, Ghee. Ghee is very medicinal. It is sort of like yogurt. You can find it in most stores nowadays. Amla, fennel, and coconut water to soothe the digestive tract. One of the important things for me was during my episode with acid reflux, not overeating. You know, there's I believe Marlon talked about this before, the Japanese principle of eating until you're about 70%, 80% full. Most of us just eat and eat and eat, even when we're no longer hungry, because we still have food on the plate. So you want to focus on foods that are cooling in nature, strengthening your digestive fire. So ensure proper digestion to prevent food from fermenting in the stomach. That can begin with breath work before we eat. Breath work puts us into the rest and digest. People forget that the parasympathetic state is rest and digest, meaning when we're in that restful mode, not only do we feel more relaxed, do we sleep easier, we digest better. You want to eat in a calm environment. I don't recommend watching the news and eating. I don't recommend talking politics with your family when eating. Very mindful. Chew thoroughly, slowly. Make sure everything, chewing is such an overlooked, undervalued means of proper health and proper digestion. When you're chewing, you're releasing digestive fluid that helps you break down what you're eating. So you want to eat fruits, ripe bananas, papaya, pomegranate, watermelon, and coconut. Green leafy vegetables, green root vegetables, cucumber, ash gourd, and bitter gourd. You want to eat aged rice, barley, oats, and mung beans. Why does the word mung bean always make me laugh? Some dairy, mostly ghee, which stimulates digestion. And again, you can find that probably most grocery stores nowadays. Use certain herbs and spices sparingly. Fennel, coriander, cardamom, cumin. You want to avoid spicy and oily food, sour and acidic food such as citrus fruits, tomatoes, vinegar, and soy sauce. You want to avoid chilies, garlic, onion, fried foods, and pickles. Keep coffee, alcohol, carbonated drinks to a minimum. Coconut water, by the way, is highly effective at neutralizing stomach acid. Licorice root is good, but be careful. Don't eat too much licorice root because it can raise blood pressure. A teaspoon of the ghee that we were talking about in warm water. So just a little bit warm water, put the teaspoon of ghee in it, stir it up and drink it. It can really help eliminate and lubricate the intestines and calm acid. Elevate your head when you sleep. That was key for me. Elevate your head. Some people find it helpful to sleep on the left side. Most importantly, I keep saying most importantly, avoid. Yep, this isn't medical advice. Thanks, Stickbug. I appreciate that. This is just health advice from an Ayurvedic perspective. Avoid eating 3 to 3 hours before bedtime. No snacking. What's this says, caffeine to a minimum if you're suffering GERD or acid reflux or any of those things. Avoid eating 2 or 3 hours before you go to bed. Let me know if any of that helps. Kamari, my friend. Okay, I'm going to have to go in a minute, guys. Brian says, I also remember Yogananda saying in his the book, he would stay up all night meditating and go to work in the morning. Yep, when I was suffering really bad anxiety and panic attacks, meditation was the only way I got rest for a long time. Lutza says, I want to try a few experiments with meditation and dowsing rods. So you're talking about meditation and dowsing rods? My own thoughts as a meditation teacher is meditate. Don't rely on tools. Don't rely on anything outside of yourself. Pick a path of meditation that resonates and meditate. Don't confuse meditation with anything else other than meditating. Just my thoughts. Long just says, I like being lean as well. Whenever I put on a bunch of muscle, I don't feel right. So you want as much muscle as needed for the task at hand. Like with ultra running, I wanted to be a very strong ultra runner, but I couldn't train for strength the way I used to and ultra run. I know some people who can. They were more fortunate than I was. But I was a strong ultra runner. I was doing kettlebell get-ups, Turkish get-ups, with the 32 kilogram, sometimes a little bit heavier. I think every once in a while I went to the 40, and I would get 1 rep per side. You do a rep, switch, do a rep, you go back and forth. The goal was that you wanted to get to 10 reps in under 5 minutes with a given weight. Then I'd go on to kettlebell swings and some goblet squats and stuff like that. But, before I was training for that, I was training kettlebell sport. I was using 32 kilogram kettlebells for snatches, for clean and jerks, for long cycles, stuff like that. Peace, love, and mung beans. Amen to that. Let's see. Yes, Majay said, I'm not chewing. Feel like I'm not getting enough food. Right now, you might not be. That's okay. Because you want to make the most of the food that you're getting. If you try to eat more, that caloric overload just causes more of the digestive issues. Melissa says, I want to use meditation to hopefully improve my success with the rods. I meant to say, got you. Hey, Q. Hey, bro, how are you? I'm doing okay. Kamara says, I appreciate you for sharing this information with me, Miss Yogi. You're welcome, Kamara, anytime. Mike Carlos says, we have teeth for grinding and chewing, not sharp teeth for eating meat. Exactly. Let's see. Little Leaf, yo, what's up, Moby? I'm a big fan. Well, we're going to touch upon that. When you came into the room, did you actually honestly believe that no one has ever made that comment before? Bald guy wearing glasses. I always want to give people a second chance. Not that, not that you said was wrong. It just wasn't original. If you want to ease back out of the room, we'll pretend like you were never here yet, and then come back in with something no one's ever heard before, then I'll be impressed. If you can come in with a ball joke that's never been said, I will show up, and if you have a live stream, I will show up in your live stream and super chat you $10. Don't look like a bear to me? Well, that's a pretty nice thing to say to somebody, I guess, right? Simply says, I try to reach 3K calories daily now, and I stay at 190. In the late 1980s, when I was training very seriously for bodybuilding, I was going for the 10K diet. I didn't reach it, ever. But when you strive to eat 10K, you generally eat between 5 and 8 or so, and I put on a lot of size. Primates are omnivores. I have never eaten an omni in my life. Hey, Tat, we're talking diet. Let's see. Turncoat? Mr. Yogi, right? You know what? I never really call myself Mr. Yogi. Or Yogi. Just a guy that does yoga. Rosie's gonna dream of expired coupons. You're gonna wake up in a panic. You're gonna wake up in the middle of the night holding imaginary coupons in your hand going, oh my God, I gotta go. I gotta go too. I think Yogi would be more of a bear. Tell me if I'm right, Mr. P. Thank you, Rosie. Cook says, can you give advice for dark time? All right. I don't like thinking anything I do as advice. Advice doesn't mean much, and I could just as easily be wrong as right about anything. So with that says, what I can do is just try to be a presence, be kind, and maybe something that we say might prove to be helpful. One of the things when we say dark time, if you think in terms of time, time is always changing. Time is always fluid. So a dark time now doesn't mean it's always going to be dark. It means that things even now are changing and becoming something else. If we cling to the darkness in the same way that we cling to light, we're going to suffer. So if we say it's dark now and it's always going to be dark, if we get stuck believing that it's a permanent state, it's going to increase our suffering. But if we see it as a fluid expression of how we feel right now, and that right now is an ever-changing, fluctuating experience of the thoughts that we're entertaining, become a little easier to guide ourselves through. Simka says, just me that calls him Miss Yogi in the South. We do that out of respect. I appreciate that, Stickbug. Thank you, Rosie. Thank you, Praveen. Hey, James. And it says, hi to Cookie Monster. Ted says, hills and valleys, my friend. There's going to be hills and valleys. Beautifully said. Minecraft says, cookies. Depends on the cookie. Perfectly lovely cookie can be ruined with a single raisin, in my opinion. Just my opinion. Don't get mad at me, guys. Raisins do not belong in cookies. Or oatmeal. Or muffins. Or pancakes. Sickbook says, if you find 10 minutes of free time later, you can give me a call. I will do my best, Sickbook, for sure, for sure. I have an addiction I don't want to talk about that is ruining my life. What do I do? Here's the simple answer. You stop. I like apricots, Minecrawler. You stop. That's the simple answer. I have an addiction that is ruining my life. What do I do? You stop. That sounds too simple. But there's infinite ways of stopping anything. So without knowing what it is, it's hard to pinpoint. And you don't have to tell me. But here's the way out of any addiction from my own experience with addiction. Cultivate the things that bring you joy. Cultivate the things that bring you health. Cultivate the things that bring you peace of mind. And then the addiction itself begins to dissipate all on its own. I didn't know that when I was battling my own addiction. And the truth is, I didn't battle my addiction. I was a happy addict. I was drinking myself to self-destruction. So why would I not be happy? That makes sense. It's a perverse way of thinking. I was deeply, deeply unhappy, but my way out of unhappiness was to destroy myself, which conversely made me think that I was happy. Circular. Doesn't make sense, but addiction never makes sense. For whatever reason, though, I was called to begin meditating, started doing breath work, my yoga practice deepened, and at that time, early mid-90s or so, I came across A Course in Miracles and began practicing it. Unsuccessfully. But those little things began to add up. I was planting seeds. We had a guest, Ray Capel, Raghunath Capel, who is a Bhakti yogi. He wrote a wonderful book, From Punk to Monk. He was the leader of the straight edge punk movement, his band in the mid to late 80s, early 90s, and he walked away from it. Went to India, spent 6 years as a celibate monk. He was a guest about 2 weeks ago, and he said, if you want self-esteem, and if you have self-esteem, you're not going to be an addict of any kind. Practice doing esteemable things, right? That's the antidote. If you want self-esteem, practice doing esteemable things. If you want happiness, practice doing the things that bring you true happiness. Practice thinking thoughts that lead to happiness. Plant the seeds that lead in the direction you want to go, and they'll take you there. So, the Pacific Book says Yogi somehow broke the laws of biology and got sober. It was grace. This is when Bill W., co-founder of AA, the 12 Steps, said that you can certainly grit your teeth and try to get through addiction, but then you end up going to meetings for your entire life. You end up always on edge. You know, they always say that, you know, you're one drink away from ending your sobriety. It's a lot of pressure. And I'm not saying that it's wrong. It just was not the way for me. A better way is through an epiphany. And you can't demand an epiphany, but you can court it. You court an epiphany by meditating, by prayer. So what Marianne Williamson said, if you find yourself on your knees, dark times, you're on your knees, you're there for a reason. Pray. If you find yourself on your knees, pray. I gotta go, guys. I'm running late. Luke says self-esteem comes from respecting yourself. You can only do that if you start removing yourself from unhealthy environments and people. And it says an epiphany. That says anything you do creates momentum. And then if you add something and put it in your body, it makes it even more. I don't know about that. Wayne Dyer used to call himself a camel. What's a camel? A camel is someone who wakes up in the morning on their knees and goes to bed tonight on their knees and can go 24 hours without a drink. I'd rather live my life as a camel than the life that I had lived before. I would rather begin my day on my knees, being thankful for all that I have, grateful, open, honest. I've spent the last 27 very sober years on my knees. Ted says, yeah, Yogi, plant the seeds and create momentum the other way. Amen to that, Tat. We all went wrong, did we? When did we do that? Was it when we were talking about oatmeal raisin cookies up ahead? Hi, Elizabeth. So, yep, give me a life on my knees than dying on my feet any day of the week. For sure. Hey, Neurological. Yeah, I'm sorry when things are going bad. The last thing I want to do is pray. How do you find it in yourself to pray when things are going bad? I personally feel abandoned by God. Well, what do you think God has to do with you feeling bad? And what else has worked for you? That's the problem, is we think that God is responsible for us feeling bad, or that God is the way of not feeling bad. God has nothing to do with how you feel. Zero. Thank you, Kat. Kat says, it's amazing how sometimes you can remember exactly what a comment is about so much later. Luke says, I woke up today for the first time, just took a moment on my knees and just said thank you because I have an amazing life compared to so many. Amen to that, Luke. I start off every single day on my knees, even metaphorically. I have stood on my feet and shook my fist angrily at the universe. What did I get in response? An angry life. And it says, better to die on my feet than live on my knees. Exact opposite of everything I've ever said in every live stream ever. Theological says, honestly, nothing else works. I've never tried praying. I've never been to prayer. So we could try praying sometimes. Remember who and what you're praying towards. Sometimes we need to redefine the concept of God. We're thinking of God as something different that grants favor through prayer. Prayer is simply communication with the divine, and everything is divine. Prayer is saying thank you, and thank you, continuously, constantly, not for and not in the hope of feeling better, but for the fact that I'm alive and I exist and it's right now, and that everything can change in a single instant. I'm saying thank you for the potentiality that life presents. I'm saying thank you for the ever-changing conditions that never leave me trapped anywhere, at least in relation to the mind. And the mind is all there is, the mind that all that counts, mind is all that matters. And I mean that quite literally. Mind is all that matters. Matters. Solidity. It's the mind that makes things appear as matter. You want a different matter? You want a different appearance? Change your thoughts. Change your thoughts through prayer. Agreed, Luke. I have no idea what George Washington said, except for, why did you put wooden teeth in my mouth, man? Is meditation a form of prayer? If it's about connection with the divine, or is prayer a form of meditation? Both. It goes either way. In essence, prayer becomes meditation, and meditation is probably the truest form of prayer because it brings us to silence. As Herman Melville said in Moby Dick, silence is the only voice of God. I see why you'd say that now. I'm not sure what I said. I wonder if you're the same if the occupied nation, civil conflict, maybe. I believe I would. I've had great teachers in my life who were in occupied nations and who were in civil conflict, and they chose peace every single time. Think of Gandhi and his actions. What brought peace? But here's the thing, even the peace that Gandhi sought and he strove for was short-lived. I'm never going to experience true peace anywhere in the world. It wasn't designed to bring you peace. Outer condition never leads to an inward sustainability, ever. However, my own inner peace will always lead to a peaceful existence. Ask Nelson Mandela. Ask Gandhi. Ask Martin Luther King. Ask Jesus. People might say, but he died on a cross, right? That's a demonstration of the resurrection. And we can only take this metaphorically, okay? Just a metaphor. Don't say Jesus wasn't real, Jesus didn't rise from the dead. We're talking metaphor. I don't know what Jesus did, what Jesus didn't do. What I know is the Christ within me is always offering myself, through the appearance of others, of resurrection. And in that resurrection, I experience peace. In my practice of forgiveness, I experience peace. That's what counts. If you want to continue what you're doing, and it brings you joy, and it brings you peace, and it brings you holy relationships, in which they are not based upon conditions of other people and what people do or don't do, keep doing it. I'm happy for you. I send you love. If you're not happy and you're looking for a better way, there are literally countless paths to get you there. There's yoga, there's Buddhism, there's Taoism, there is Kabbalah, there's mystical Christianity. There is just waking up in the morning and praying, saying thank you. There is infinite paths of meditation. There is running ultra marathons, communing with nature. There's plant medicine. There's dowsing. There is this and there is that. If any of that brings you peace, do it, and do it every day and be happy. But if you think that anything in the outer world is ever going to bring you happiness, let me know how it works for you. I agree. It's absolutely impossible to believe that in a state of hopelessness. I agree 100%. It is impossible in a state of hopelessness to believe in anything other than hopelessness. That's why we pray. Melissa says, okay, well, I got no reason to doubt you. All I can do is talk about my own internal conflicts. All I can do is bring to mind holding my hand, experiencing the loss of my father, caregiving in his last days while I was suffering from panic attacks, anxiety, insomnia, acid reflux, and a host of other issues. All I can bring to mind is 9 years of continuous caregiving for my mother as she passed away from a long decline of Alzheimer's. All I can bring to mind is my years of self-destructive behavior, literally trying to end myself and not having the courage to do it, so doing it in a bottle, and endangering people's lives, being a completely miserable person, but trying to put on a cheerful front for everyone. All I can think about is my divorce, feeling betrayed and hurt and broken, and countless other things that really caused me to live in an occupied territory. It was occupied by my miscreations. It was occupied by my self-hatred. It was occupied by my illusions of who I was, my aloneness. We all live in an occupied nation. The question is, do you want to stay there? All right, I gotta go. I know you are, Praveen. I know you are, my friend. I don't think I'm ever going to look back and say recovered. I'm in the process of recovery. Luke says, heard an awesome quote lately. Thought I'd share it with you. The most personal is most creative. Martin Scorsese's. I like that. We all have, this is why we're kind. Be kind to everyone because we are all fighting a hard battle. Every single one of us. Every single one of us is living in an occupied territory. It's occupied by the ego. Thank you, Paul. Thanks for being here. Yep, you're right about that. Love you guys. Got to go. I got some work to do. I got a walk to take. I got a workout to do. I will talk to everyone in just a little bit. Anna is sending beavers. I hope to see one this morning. All right, the sun is on its way. Love you guys.